Okay, that's perfect.
All right, we are live. Hey everyone, thank you for joining. We are going to go ahead and send this out and we are going to get started because we have some hot topics that are just coming in and we are super excited and crunk to get started. Go ahead and make sure you share this feed and go ahead and show us some like and love throughout this whole session. I'll introduce myself. My name is Autumn with ADQM Solutions, where I help business and professionals with any issues to enhance them with value. That's to gain profit margin, that's for positive outcomes. I'm your girl. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Grand Rev Financial.
Hello, everyone. I'm Wadeline Charles with Grand Rev Financial. I'm an accountant with the firm, so really helping businesses and individuals acquire and achieve wealth. Businesses become financially successful, and always with our bookkeeping services, our tax services, as well as our insurance services as well. So yeah, and I'm excited to be here tonight.
Jazz Poetry Cafe.
Hi, I'm Carissa, the CEO and founder of Jazz Poetry Cafe and No Fear Productions. And we are a platform for local and all artists, up and coming artists, to gain exposure, to expand their reach, as well as we expand the reach of local small businesses. We also do event promotions, management, you name it, with music and poetry, well, the arts. We are your people to reach out to. We're here locally in Jacksonville, Florida, so reach out and see us until we're able to do our first Fridays again.
Awesome. Selena?
Hello, everyone. My name is Financial Life Coach Selena G. I am the CEO and founder, of the 800 Plus Financial Freedom Club, where I sit down and do one-on-one financial coaching to help people get back on track with their finances, and to also give you tips, knowledge, and skills on how to reach the 800 Plus Club with your credit score.
And Michelle.
And I'm Coach Michelle Kennedy, Master Life Coach and Entrepreneurial Boss. And I offer life coaching services as well as life coaching certifications. I also am an author and a publisher. So if you're interested in writing a book, hit me up. This is the time to do it. You got nothing but time on your hand.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that tonight too.
Let's capitalize.
So we're going to get into this discussion because we already got 11 people on and I know they're ready and eager to hear what's going on. So for anyone unable or has not received their stimulus check, what are they to do? I've heard they're going to IRS site, hey, it's not updated. They can't put their information in. Any suggestions of what they should do to make sure that they're able to receive this stimulus check?
I was listening to the news on today and they were saying that because of so many people trying to log on all at one time on the internet, that is what's causing it to slow down. But do not give up. Continue to go on our irs.gov, and that is where you will put in your information that will let you know exactly the status of where your funds are.
Gotcha. Wadeline, same information you have?
Yeah, I just had one addition. So I'm laughing because I've been receiving so many calls from people as far as like trying to get the stimulus, get their portal up, and so it's been a low key driving me crazy too. So I'm like, woo, another one. But basically going on the link, the portal link, and I could actually wait. How can I drop it? I'll drop it under the video after this shares. Yeah, so, going on that link, making sure, like, if you're not able to update your information at that time, then giving it some time, checking it every day until you're able to update it if your account information is not updated on your taxes. Now, it does, people are receiving their refunds, not their refunds, their stimulus money, not all at the same time. So be patient. I know people are lining up in line, attacking tax preparers. Just be patient. They're coming out. They're not coming out all on the same day.
Right.
But just give it some more time. Definitely give it some more time. Go on there, check daily, so that if you do need to update your information, you're able to update it eventually. And if they're not able to get it into your account, then they will send it to the address on your tax return, which will take a few more weeks. But it still will get to you eventually. But yes.
So with everything going on, this is definitely, I'm gonna switch topics and rotate a lot. So with everything going on right now, there's tons of time. How can we talk about how to be productive on the time that we have now versus come out of this? I shouldn't ask you, what happened during this whole COVID-19? Like how did you grow? And you tell me you didn't. There has to be some positive to this. Anybody want to talk about some of the positive changes people can be working on or utilizing time wisely right now?
Well,
I would start. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just talking with all of them last night, and one of the main things that I had to readjust is balance. I'm a type person. I'm 10 toes in whatever I'm doing. If I'm focused on my business, then that's what has my focus. If I'm focused on my family, then that's what has the majority of my focus. But so this has taught me balance, to a lot time to my business, a lot time to family, a lot time to myself. Because sometimes I neglect myself, like I was saying earlier. I had to go get my nails done today because that's just something I do for me. It used to be I just did it because I have a show coming up, but you have to allot time to everything. There's a time for everything. Definitely not take this time is just to be loafing around and TikToking and all this stuff that I've been seeing people do with their time. But find time to read, find time to stretch. What your boundaries of what you definitely stretch your boundaries, because sometimes we get so comfortable in the confines of what we want to do, and then something like this happens that causes us to go outside those boundaries so we could grow. So definitely that's what you should be doing with your time. It's not for me to say, hey, start your business, because everybody is, at the end of the day, is not supposed to be a business owner, but you're supposed to be doing something with the gifting that you have, that you were given.
I would say, of course, start off with prayer. Drink water. You still want to keep up your health wise as well. Start off with prayer, get you some water, do maybe 15 to 30 minutes with some exercise. And even if you just stretch and move your neck, do a few, some type of exercise to get your body going, because we're sitting here in the house, or even if you just go out and take a walk. But you want to get a notebook and write down what it is that you need to do. Some people are still working at home, but I would say still keep a schedule, like she was saying, keeping a balance. And then if you have conference calls and things in that nature, make sure you write them down, even if you have to use your calendar on your phone to set reminders so you won't forget. I had to keep still wearing my watch, because I'm like, okay, what day is it? Is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? You get thrown off with the day and the time. So I still wear my watch even throughout the day, so I could keep up with what day it is, what time it is, so I can stay on schedule with my meetings and conferences, and making sure my daughter is doing what she needs to do with her schoolwork. So I would say just keep your schedule, even if you have to use your calendar on your phone. Like, hey, at 6 o'clock, I got to do a conference call. At 2 o'clock, my daughter have to be on her call with her teacher. And that way your kids are staying on track, you are staying on track, and you're being productive and getting things done throughout the day.
So what about bringing it back to business? As a business owner, what do you need to be doing right now with your time? So like, for example, I follow a 30, 60, 90, and 120. Basically, you should be working ahead, never the same day of, or thinking, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we're preparing ourselves with utilizing the time that we have, we'll always be a little bit ahead of the game versus currently in the moment. So utilizing this time as a business owner to plan ahead, prepare. You can actually be able, in the process of creating new things to come up, even down the line. So if I'm working almost at a 120 day, I'm way ahead of my schedule. So if something
Mhm.
comes up like this, I'm able to adjust. I'm able to
Mhm.
adjust rapidly to actually change, you know what I'm saying, my business. So like there's a lot of business owners that are working day by day, but they're not, the time that we have now can give us the ability as business owners to kind of create that opportunity to work ahead.
I
I
know,
heard a lot of comments about that.
I know
And
for me,
also, go
one of
ahead.
the things that I had to do was to adjust, because a lot of times we have things that are set in place and we follow those to the letter, but this is a unorthodox time, so we need to be doing business in a different manner. So like I have several businesses, but my baking business is usually one that's seasonal. You know,
Mhm.
everybody want a cake for Christmas, Thanksgiving, Mother's Day, Easter, those type of holidays. So it's kind of seasonal, but now that people are home, they're eating. So I've done more cake baking than I have coaching and teaching. So being able to make that quick adjustment and not getting discouraged, because people are not wanting to set face-to-face coaching. People are not wanting to start coaching programs just because things are so sketchy as to where people are and where they're going to be in their business, but people are
Mhm.
going to eat. So my biggest thing would be to suggest to find a way to make your business relevant to right now.
Right.
Great. Wyland, you have anything as far as utilizing the time to for our business purposes, like as far as growth and ability to kind of continue?
I would definitely say take the time to hone in on your skills. Tweak them, increase them. So look at different things or even coaches that you can learn from to definitely increase your skills sets, because we are going into a time where people are becoming essentially expendable. Automation is increasing. People working from home are more and more. So us going back to the way it was, there is no the way it was anymore, because we've essentially found a new way of doing business in a sense. So really making sure that you're not expendable, or your niche is not dying down. So whatever market that you're in, what can you be doing to be the expert in your field, and also what things that you can be doing to have the most outreach as well. So definitely figuring out game plans, strategic, like you said, Autumn, as far as like thinking ahead, longevity terms, what is 30, 60, 90, 120 days from now? What does my business look like? Um, so
I think yesterday I heard something really powerful. As a business owner, pay attention to your environment. You know, your
Mhm.
environment determines your business and your growth. But as a business owner, pay attention to your environment, not as a
Right.
person in general, and just cater
Mhm.
to your business. I think
Mhm.
that is one of the platforms I heard that was really positive. Because if we're actually looking into that, we can capture and change a lot before it actually happens. If we
Mhm.
actually pay
Mhm.
attention to our environment.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
good.
yeah, that was really good. So I'm gonna skip back and
Also,
hmm,
to cut you off, also one thing people need to do during this time too is learn to study your audience.
mhm,
A lot of times we, especially in the hustle and bustle of things, we're focused on the bottom line and how much money that we're trying to bring in, and you neglect to realize who your audience is. You
yeah,
may like lemon cakes, and your family may love lemon cakes, and so that's all you're making. But you look at your audience, you realize my audience really like my pound cakes. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So take this time to study your audience and who the people are, who the people you're trying to reach to. Because sometimes you shouldn't just be so fixated on the audience that you have, but look at the audience that you could have.
mhm,
Mhm.
You may maybe do well with pound cakes, but maybe you find a new audience of people who like red velvet cakes or something like that. This is the
mhm.
time we really need to be researching and studying our craft, honing in on our
Right.
craft, and
yeah,
and and what it is that we need to do and what it is that we can do. Tap into those things that you didn't even thinking about tapping into.
Mhm.
So this is the time you really need to fixate on building your business, because once the floodgates open back up, you're not gonna have time to prepare.
Right.
So we need to be preparing, like she said, that 30, 60, 90, 120 days. So that way when the gates open, we're ready. We've done our
Mhm.
research.
Absolutely.
Dawn, thanks for joining. She mentioned you have to be able to think outside the box. Big and small companies
Yes.
have had to adjust.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm gonna go back to
Can
finance.
I just say,
Oh, go ahead.
what Carissa said about knowing your audience, but also realizing that in this time your audience may have changed.
Yes.
It
Mhm.
shifted, and you're still
Mhm.
looking to gain traction from what was your audience when that's no longer your audience, because the way we do business has had to change. And I've seen this with churches. A lot of
Right.
churches who were not into automated giving, online giving, being able to cash out your church. Those first couple of weeks when we were unable to attend church, they were suffering because people, if they don't attend church, they don't pay their money because you don't have any
Mhm.
up what they can pay it without being there.
Mhm.
And so knowing that your audience may have changed and knowing that you may need to do business according to your new audience.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah.
So going back to finance. So how to work and improve your credit score during this pandemic? Should that be important right now, or should that not really be the focus?
What was that? I missed that.
So how would you work or go to improve your credit score right now during this pandemic?
Okay.
Should that be a focus or should that not be a focus?
Definitely a focus.
So
I feel
like,
like it's always a focus.
can we chime on like why it would be, and then definitely if we can put some tips out there to help someone to be working on their credit?
Right.
Yes, I would say, number one, you want to get a notebook. Any type of notebook. I know you probably have one at the house, a notebook or a composition book. First thing you want to do is just write down all of your bills, all the bills that you owe. And then you can know exactly what it is that you owe. And then also you can download Credit Karma on your phone or on your computer. And then that way you can get a look at what your credit score is. If you're not able to pay your bills, what you want to do is call your creditors to see what they have that they are able to offer and work with you. If you call them and let them know you're not able to pay something, they will have something in place. Most of them do, especially what we're going through right now. They will have something in place where they can put a block on your credit, so it would not be reported that you did not pay or be reported negative, so it would not affect your credit score. If you're able to still make your payments, by all means do so, because when you make your payments on time, that is what helps your credit score to increase. If you do not call them and do not make payments, then you are going to receive these lates, 30-day lates that's going to be reported to your credit report, which can possibly bring your score down. But if you call and let them know that you're going through a hardship, you're laid off or whatever the case may be, and you cannot make your payments, you need to let them know that so they can put protection on your account so it would not affect your credit score in a negative way. But you always want to be concerned with your credit, whether we're going through a crisis or not. And there are protections in place to help you if you're going through a crisis.
Marlene, what do you have?
Yes, it's funny because I spoke about credit on my on the Financial Lit Tuesday, and I'll definitely say, as any time, definitely work on increasing your credit, but especially now, because we are heading towards a market failure. So you want to be able to leverage debt in a sense to increase your wealth. So that being increasing your line of credits on your cards. Those are quick ways to boost your credit as well. So go ahead and reach out to them, your creditors, ask them to decrease your interest rate on your cards, and increase your line of credit, as well as the any creditors that may already be on your credit. Go ahead and negotiate the payments down, or dispute whatever charges you already have on there. So a lot of times, just go ahead and dispute them. If it comes back, And it's like, oh, well, I'm stuck with it. After you realize, damn, I couldn't get it disputed, go ahead and go through the steps of negotiating down the payment. So usually if you offer, you know, something like, say it's $1,000 and they're like, hey, this is 500 is all I have. A lot of the times they will work with you and be like, okay, let's do it, because they rather get something from you than nothing at all. So
Mhm.
go ahead and negotiate with them, increase your line of credit, decrease your interest rate on your cards, and just reach out to them. The
Mhm.
whole time is rough, but you think about how much money you're saving and how much you're increasing your credit just by doing those three things.
And I also wanted to add, just keep in mind, they are still sending out bills. Like you know, every month, your monthly bills are still there. So that's why I'm saying, if you have the funds to pay, by all means, still continue to make your payments. If you need help, call them and let them know, because they can't read your mind. They don't know that you need help unless you call them and let them know. But they will have things in place to help you, to protect you during this time. But you have to stay in communication with them.
We have a question. How do you negotiate to reduce interest rate with the creditor?
Oh, all you say is, hey, I want a lower interest rate. And they press a few buttons, they may put you on hold, and then they come up with an offer. They say you're at 23%, and then they're like, well, we can give you 15%. And maybe they even be like, we could only give you 15% for 6 months. But after those 6 months, you just call again and then see what they can do after those a few months. But you just literally say, hey, I want to decrease my interest rate. That's it. As simple as that.
Can you do that at any time, or is it only during this pandemic? Because you
Oh,
can do this at
anytime.
any time.
You can do it anytime.
And that's really awesome to know. Wally, you mentioned something on your Tuesday Financially Lit about buying back the block. Can you tap in on that? Because I don't think people really know what we need to be preparing for.
Yeah, and that goes back to credit. Like, get your credit up. Oh my gosh. You have the 800 plus club here. Myself, I'm not a credit expert by far. I mean, my specialty is not in credit repair. But I do know about credit. But it's so important that you do it, because you want to work on other people's money, essentially, right? If you can increase your wealth on other people's money, why not leverage that? And credit's the way to do it. So essentially, buying back the block starts with there. So say your credit is fine. Now you have maybe even $5,000. The market is at a crash. Because the banks are now tightening their regulations, that means sellers are having to decrease the amount they're selling their property for, because there's less buyers on the market. So now the sellers are like, dang, I basically have to get what I can get. So now you're able to offer a lesser amount on a home if you're approved for, the funding and everything right now. And then also in the future, you have short sales coming, you have foreclosures coming. I was reading an article earlier, and we're almost at 2,000% in forbearances, and it's only been a month. And you think about all the amount of people that are in forbearance. That money is gonna be due at the end of this. So and nobody's saving up that money to be able to pay it at the end of all this. So those people, unfortunately, you have foreclosures and short sales coming. But with that, you have leverage, you have the opportunity to leverage that, purchase those opportunities with your awesome credit on other people's money, maybe turn it into a rental property, maybe fix and flip it and sell it into the market, maybe even hold it for a few years, then sell when the market starts picking back up. But you have so many different opportunities, and this is the opportunities that you need to basically think of, like, all right, this is where we're heading. The easiest way I would say is look at trends. Look at what happened at the end of at the beginning and end of during the market crash of 2008. What happened then? What's going to be hot now, or then, whatever the case may be. You want to really look at trends to think of the opportunities that are about to come up.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a landlord myself, and I think I utilize that time. I'm gonna utilize it again when it comes. I'm getting ready. But I think it's awesome when we can kind of give back to and put a different aspect if you're able to rent a home, because not everyone understands, and it kind of helps out when you're able to kind of be able to be a landlord, but still have a passion with it and a heart and a business owner. It's definitely a good
Absolutely.
opportunity with some residual income. Definitely, y'all need to be prepared and getting ready to buy that block back. That is for sure. I have a question. As far as the interest rate, the negotiation, is that based upon your credit score? So do they run your credit again for the interest rate?
Well, they
Negotiation.
have it because they're your creditor in a sense. So they could basically do a soft look at where you're at. So yeah, if your credit basically decrease and you haven't been making payments and everything, that does play a part because they want to see that you've been doing with, making payments and all that. And then they're like, okay, same thing with increasing your line of credit. And yes, it's based on your increase in income, but it's also based on your ability to keep up with the amount of money that they already gave you. So same thing with interest rate. So if your credit did improve, or maybe if your credit is around the same, but you're continuously making payments or whatever the case may be, but you have maybe a high debt to income ratio, you can also get your interest rate decrease as well. But you do want to even go for the credit increase and then go for the interest rate decrease, just so that you can see some increase in your credit before you ask for the decrease in interest rate.
And then also they're going to look at your credit history with the company, to see if you are in good standing with them. And then make sure you're not in any type of default as well.
I'm going to switch it back up to the business side. We talked about the customers and knowing our audience. I believe, and I truly believe that the satisfaction we provide to our customers really means a lot. So when we say customers, though, we have to think about the new, the current, and the former. As a business owner, how do you find the balance? Because what you did with your formers, you have growth. And then what you have with your new ones, you're really at your peak. And then you have your current ones that you've retained. So this is a really good time as business owners to look into that aspect of those 3 levels of your customers to kind of make sure you have the balance, and then also be kind of willing to work with them. Bring your old ones back in, and then also retain your new ones. Anybody want to chime in or talk on that aspect?
I would, growth really isn't set by new customers, it's set by repeat customers, because people will try you one time. Like they'll give you that one go. So that really doesn't show signs of growth. What happens is when you're able to have repeat business and you're able to retain them, then that shows sustainability and growth. I went through the Jax Bridges program, and one of the things that we learned is learning your customer's journey, like where your customer come from, what did they purchase, what was the interaction, what was your follow-up, do you have a CMS in place, and being able to track so that you're able to know what the journey for your customer is, and the way that you're able to give a greater customer satisfaction is by tracking that journey. Like what was the interaction like? If they schedule appointments, how did they go through to schedule that appointment? How can you make that to be more sufficient? Okay, so now that they have the product, so what can you do to increase it? And as well as not being afraid to get customers feedback, and don't be offended, because everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And even in their opinion, even if you feel that it's a lie, there's some truth there and you should listen to it.
Carissa, you are in the entertainment business. How important is the feedback for you actually at your business and your front? How important is the feedback for you as far as what you provide to your customers?
It's extremely important because I have the type of music that I like, which is pretty much all music, but I had to realize that I'm not selling them what I like. I am presenting to them what they love. And so I'm constantly
Mhm.
asking for feedback from my audience. I personally walk around, introduce myself, ask them if they're enjoying themselves, ask them when they come back, what they didn't like, what could we change, and implement those changes. We also have surveys that we have available for them to fill out, and it does good when the repeat customer comes back and see that you actually listened and implemented those changes. And
Mhm.
so we're constantly changing. We can't get to the point where we feel like we've arrived and we're doing everything right and we're not going to do anything else, because growth means change. And so in order
Mhm.
for us to continue to grow, we have to change. We have to constantly try to stay ahead of the trend and not be in the trend. A lot of times we get trapped by trends and not realizing that trends will pass. And so if you're just in a trend, then eventually you will no longer be the thing. They're on to the next thing. And so you have to essentially be a trend setter.
I was waiting for you to say it. I was waiting for you to say it.
You have to be a trend setter. And that's what separate, for lack of a better term, separate the men from the boys. You know,
Mhm.
when you're in business, when you're a true visionary, you're doing what people aren't used to seeing, what people are afraid of doing. That's what you do. You can't be afraid to venture out and think outside of the box. Now that doesn't mean it's going to be comfortable, because it is very uncomfortable being outside the box. But I tell people all the time, you got to be comfortably uncomfortable.
Mhm.
If you're
Absolutely.
comfortable, then you're not doing it right.
I think
Every day you should be at the edge
That's
of your
good.
old ways set new trends. I had to
Yes.
shout out, my uncle joined on. He's a DJ, but he is a DJ old school vinyls. You know, everybody's going live. He actually, if you see him scratching on the vinyls, you know what I'm saying? But that old way actually set a trend in a new era. You know what's going on. So I think
Mhm.
sometimes too, implementing those old ways and techniques, you know, kind of help to fit with the new era. Michelle, that was awesome response to that new current and former customers. That was awesome. I was waiting on it. I was like, oh, she gonna land it. One quick thing. What about follow-ups? How important is the follow-ups? As
my
a business
gosh.
owner, you gotta land those follow-ups.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
Very
work is in the
important.
follow-up.
Very
Yeah, because that's
important.
where you really get your customer clients and that
Yeah.
follow-up. Because people expect to be, they said like, I forgot what the study was, 8 times. I mean, it sounds draining. Oh my gosh. Following up is probably one of those things that are like, here we go again. But yeah, they said on average 8 times.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow-up is big. But to me,
Yeah.
follow-up, it lets me know you actually had a time or you're doing what you need to be doing. When you don't follow up, it's like, no, I'm not a priority to them. Let me wait until I find the one that makes me that
Right.
priority to do my needs. So yeah, I
Exactly.
definitely agree.
And
All
not
right.
just with your customers, with the people that you're working with. I like to try to follow up with my vendors as well. Ask them, hey, did you enjoy yourself? Did you get a return on your investment? What do you think we could do different? How can I be of assistance to you? Because we don't want to treat our business owner, our vendors, as somebody who just to pad our pockets.
Right.
We're here to make their dreams come true as well. So I like to follow up with
Absolutely.
them and say, okay, do you think this is what you bargained for? Or, you know, even your staff, follow up with your staff. Hey, are we doing this right? Do you think this is too much pressure on you? What can we do to help you? In my business, I like each department to have their own mission statement. So I have a company mission statement, but each of my departments will have their own mission statement. So that way they have their own goals that they want to set for themselves. But see, to get to that level, people had to be bought into your vision.
Right.
They have to be treated as a family. They have to be treated that they're a part of it, that they're not just helping you make money.
Right.
See, we're all working together. And when you have people that's bought into your vision, that's on your team, then you got something. But that goes
That's
back
true.
to what I've been saying before. We're in the investment of people, not just in products and services. Because people gonna buy into you before they buy into anything that you're selling.
Absolutely.
If they don't believe in you and don't have a connection with you, they could care less about what you're selling.
That's true.
There's 2 comments and then want to bring up one other thing. Keith said, true, you take the chance in what you believe in, no matter if it's beyond others' visions. Dawn mentioned you have to connect with your customers.
Exactly.
So buying into your vision. You did bring up, and I know I told you I'm going real talk today. We just buying into your vision. How important is it to identify the people you collaborate with that are on your same path and vision? Because you can find someone, I always say actions speak louder than words. As a business owner, this is the time that we are going to have people out there reaching out that can't really do anything for us, provide the service, spam, different things. How important is it, or what are you doing to make sure that person truly is the one for your business to bring in versus bringing in someone that can actually do more damage than anything?
Well, we got to look beyond the resume because I'm tired of people. I mean, your resume can be top notch, but if I can't connect with you, I can't vibe with you, you're not going to be of good service to me.
Absolutely.
You got, and before all that, you got to make sure you fully explain what your vision is. Because if your vision is hazy and people don't understand what it is that you're trying to do, they're going to come in with their own vision and try to impose that upon you.
Right.
So your vision has to be clear, and then you got to make sure that the people are in alignment with your vision and not necessarily their talents. Because you can have somebody very talented, but at the end of the day, they're just trying to get out of what they're trying to get out of for them. And it's going to be at a deficit to you. You got this well-talented, well-educated person who at the end of the day is doing more harm than good. So get past the resume and connect with the person. Hey, if we could vibe, then we could work together. I've had people on my team that is not as decorated as the next person, but they've been my greatest asset. Because when you get them bought into your vision, you can't pay for that. You can't buy that.
I agree.
It's all in people connection. Don't let this coronavirus cause you to be separated. Because
I know that's right.
we're supposed to be coming together.
That's right.
Michelle, you had something.
Look, I don't have to write it down because I got all these points out. Okay, so the first thing I want to say, and I believe I said this on the last broadcast, but relationship over revenue. T.D. Jakes said, if you have a lack of revenue, it's because there is a lack of relationship. Everything that we get comes from people. So if you have problems building a relationship, you will not be successful in anything. Second thing is, T.D. Jakes also said that if you find people who have your heart, you can teach them your vision.
That's good.
Exactly.
If you can find somebody who has a like heart, then you can teach them your vision. And then the last thing is, do not ignore red flags. We think about red flags when it comes to relationship, with husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever floats your boat. But we don't think about it in business and in our connections. When you have a connection and you see those red flags, do not ignore. Do not ignore them detour signs. They are there for a reason. Look, I digress.
But
that
you're
was
right.
so good.
That was good.
That's good.
Go in business with friends. Hey, I got a lot of friends. I know a lot of people, but baby, that don't mean that we're supposed to do business together, because you have to separate business from personal. I have to make some hard decisions. I can love you to life, but that don't mean that you're supposed to be in business with me. You got to make sure they are in alignment with your vision. Like you said, in alignment with your heart. Matter of fact, I do more business with strangers than I do with friends. And that doesn't mean that I want to hire my friends. It's just that I've learned, because when it's time to make those tough decisions, it's harder to make those tough decisions when you got friends and family in your business.
Right.
Some of the feedback, you nailed it. Autumn, actions speak louder than words. This was to you, Michelle. Preach. And then Marche is y'all preaching. So I think everybody as a business owner, you got to hear it. You know what I'm saying? You got to hear it and you got to be able to feel it. So I'm gonna touch base. I got one more came in. Sometimes you have to, you have people in your circle and family that may not have anything to offer on the financial side, but the hustle game with talking and dealing with people at 100%. That's worth more than gold if you can train them how to present your product, which is big. Some of them don't have it, but they they have the gift of life with their words. So
Mhm.
I able to train others are awesome too.
I know one of the big things is you have to know the capacity of the people in your circle.
Mhm.
You are aware of what their gifts, their skills, their talents, their capacity are. You can utilize them to the best of their ability. I have in my life coaching circle right now, it's about 25 coaches. And I have coaches in there who received their certification on scholarships, but those are my biggest pushers. They couldn't pay for their class and their books, but they done collaborated with other people. And if I make a post, they share it every time. So
Mhm.
you'll get a greater gain. And not only that, because I invested in them, they're loyal. And even one,
Right.
I've been able to come back and employ her. So now you making money and you on every platform that I'm on, just
Mhm.
simply because I learned your capacity. You ain't have no money, but you will share a post.
Mhm.
I agree.
Mhm.
I definitely agree. So I'm gonna go back to the
Yeah.
financial side of it. Um, so we talked about that. So I'm gonna get into it because I know a lot are waiting on it. I did get a question that came in when I did post for our meeting today. What are some tips for business owners to organize and manage their business? So for example, I had got the question, I use my debit card for my business every time I swipe and purchase. Is that all that I need, or do I actually need to keep receipts? You know, those are questions like I'm not sure people know how to manage their spending for their actual business on
Mhm.
what they need when it comes time at the end of the year.
I would say you still need receipts.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be surprised, even large corporations have to keep the receipts. And all their departments, they have to upload all the receipts, gas receipts, all that.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter the size of the company. As tedious and annoying as it seems, you have to keep receipts because in case of an audit, you have nothing to prove. Like, yeah, bank statements are great and all, but it doesn't really say what the purchase was.
Right.
Because you could go into the gas station and not necessarily pay for gas, right? But I would definitely say, and as far as like swiping a debit card, I'm hoping it's a business debit card linked to a business account and not personal.
Also too.
But that's one of the big things is please separate personal from business.
Right.
For one, it's hard to keep track of your cash flow, and you're most likely losing a lot of money because of it, because you're intertwining your personal and your business stuff. So you're not able to accurately track what your business is actually bringing in. Your expenses are probably through the roof because there's no track record. So first, definitely make sure that your accounts are separate, business and personal. And then, and yes, I recommend QuickBooks. You know, you can do like the most simple QuickBooks subscription, which is like something like $15 or so a month. Spend it. It's more than worth it. Trust me. Even if you're not hiring a bookkeeper like myself, it's fine. But definitely, get some training on QuickBooks. Get QuickBooks app. You can get it on your phone. You can have it on your desktop. You take a picture of the receipt and you toss it. As simple as that, because so you don't walking around with a bunch of receipts, but at least you have that track record in case of anything. But definitely separate the two, business and personal expenses.
Marche said she uses QuickBooks. QuickBooks, even if they go to account in the file, they can actually present their QuickBooks to you in an organized fashion to help with everything you need to do as well, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I love QuickBooks. When they're not acting up, but QuickBooks is great. And even on there, on your transaction, as soon as you run a transaction, you can take a picture of the receipt and link it to the transaction. When you're giving your accountant your QuickBooks, you literally just go in and hit a button to send your information to your accountant, and they have basically everything. And then you just send them their bank statements to double check everything. But it's really simple. It's very user friendly. If you do need any like help with your QuickBooks, I know there's like free options, of course, there's courses and things online, paid options. I help train people with QuickBooks, but both of them work. But I definitely recommend QuickBooks. Yeah, it's very simple, easy to use. You can send it to your accountant and get it out of here.
And it's not difficult to open a business account. I mean, some people are
Mm-mm.
scared to actually do that. It's not difficult at all. So,
Mm-mm.
Just as simple as calling your bank and talking to them, right? Is there a difference between credit unions versus regular banks, or is there?
I recommend at least having one credit union, but also, having different banks, because credit unions tend to have better deals for their members as far as like rates, loans, better loan options, things like that. So having a credit union and then having a regular bank, depending on regular banks, like they're easy to use versus Community First is a lot of places, but not everywhere.
Right.
So your larger banks, they're everywhere, so you don't have any issues. And their software and everything tend to be a lot more updated than credit unions. But credit unions have like good rates for their members. So I do recommend like having both. And you should not have your money all in one account anyways. So even if you want to send your backup fund, your succession fund, whatever, in another account, and then do your day-to-day transactions in another, I definitely recommend that as well.
So I have two more topics. So definitely we're getting to the really juicy part of this conversation. So go ahead and share this post, get your friends on board if they're business owners, because it's going to get lit in a minute. But I definitely make sure you're posting your comments. Everyone is watching, and we can actually, review any questions that you have. So I have to bring it to Michelle, because she said something to me. I recently met Michelle, connected with her, and awesome. But your answers equal what? Profit. Can you emphasize on that for a business owner, so that way we're not in a failing predicament and we're actually putting value on what we have?
Absolutely. So there is two things that we provide to our customers. We either provide them a solution or we provide them a treatment. A solution is something that they come to us one time for. A treatment is something that they come to us repeatedly. So what you're doing is you're providing an answer to a solution. So whatever that problem is, if you're hungry, you go to McDonald's, the solution is they feed you. So you have a problem that you're hungry. Their answer is their food, which equals to them profit. Same thing for your business. I say this to people all the time. People come to you because you have answers. Whether that answer is a product or a service, it equals profit. The Bible says that God has given us gifts to make profit. So yes, you are supposed to charge for your gifts because it is the answer to a problem. They charge us, so you charge people, and that's the way that you're able to sustain as a business owner, because you have value. Like as a life coach, like I don't provide a product. I provide a service. So it's my knowledge, it's my know-how, it's my answer that people come and sit in the midst of me in order for me to provide them with that. If you're that person who's always giving out advice, find out what kind of business you can start where you giving out advice, because your answer equals profit. Stop giving you away. There's three things you can never get back: time, money, and resources. You can get
That's
more,
true.
but you can never get back what you've given out. Okay, I'm done. I digress.
No.
That is so good. So good.
It's like you can sometimes help and you talk and you don't realize what you're saying is actually the answer. They just walked away and did so much. And then you're like still sitting there looking like, okay,
I'm telling you, for years, people would come to me and they would be like, oh, I got this idea that I want to do this. And I be done ran them down a whole business plan. And they do this and they do that. And then look, Autumn presented a idea.
That is so true.
It is.
Our message, she was like, okay, no, we're not gonna do that. I'm like, yes, these are the things you have to think about. My gift is execution. You come to me with an idea, we're gonna put some revenue to it. So what do? People come to me, and I was just sharing this with the coaches, and I'm gonna start for real. I started out charging $30 an hour for life coaching. Oh, I thought I was doing something. When I started breaking down my eyeglasses, my hair, my makeup, what it costs to travel, I'm working for
You working for free for negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started thinking about it and the fact that, like in one section, I could fix your wife, like for real. And
Mhm.
Go ahead. Yes.
oh yeah, you gonna get that $125 because you might not come back.
Yeah.
You just gave them the treatment. They walk
Yeah.
away making triple, quadruple,
I
you know,
love
That's
it.
off
true.
of what you know, so like, and the loyal system is not always there. Are they gonna return it
Yeah.
back? It may happen here and there, but I think
Mm.
too, as a business owner, you know what I'm saying? You can have a heart. I understand that, but at the same time, you can't really have a heart with business. They're two separate ones at the same way. So I
That's
give
true.
when I want to give, and I do my business when I'm ready to, you know, do what I need to do. We
Yeah.
got a couple things.
I tell people all the time, there are some people who I serve, and there are some people who I service. Those who I service, you get my rate. Those who I serve, I listen and I feel and I listen to the spirit and what it tell me to do for you, I do.
Mhm.
But you gotta understand that there are some people that you service, and then there are some people you serve. And the people who I
That's
serve,
true.
they make up for the people that I serve, and I ain't missing nothing. Okay, I'm gonna be
Yeah, that's good.
Look, she done dropped another one. One serving the ones you service. That's big too. That's really big. So you
That's
know,
true.
any business owner watching right now that is actually just serving, and you have a talent, you have a business, and you're down because you're not getting like your value. You know what I'm saying? Consider what she's saying. Your answer equals a profit. You know, take some of your serving to a service. I think that
Mhm.
is really big, and that's something that we all
Absolutely.
need to know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Marche did ask a comment. When do you feel the need to get a business account? Is there a certain limit of revenue before you need to do that, or when you should do that?
Oh no! As soon as you open up your business, like
Yeah.
even if you only have $20 in the account,
Right.
and yeah, open a business account.
Mhm.
Like as soon as you get your EIN number, go ahead and go to the
Yes.
bank.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So these federal updates, I posted on my timeline because it hit me really strong. It's a lot of people
My
that
sleeves.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Yeah, I know.
pull 'em up, but we gonna have to get in. So everybody hit the stream trying to go. Business owners that got people on payroll. I'm talking about small businesses. There was a glimpse of hope, and there was
Right.
really a resource where it was pushed. It was pushed hard. Not
Mhm.
if they gave too many different
Extremely.
options. You had to read the options. It was pushed really, really hard.
Mhm.
There's a post today. There's people that never made it to step 2. They're still waiting on a response, and there's no more funding left.
Absolutely. And-
Right.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And you have people that receive $2 million in funding, and you have like small business owners that are struggling. Doors are closed. They can't
Mhm.
operate. And you have larger businesses that receive $2 million in funding. Like it's
Yeah.
absurd. And now you're saying that you're out of money. Like,
Mhm.
and they actually basically said, hey, here's a $10,000 advance. We're sending it out to everybody that drops in the application, but barely anyone actually received it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I saw it. Did you see the last one? Like, I'm not looking at my Facebook to kind of know how much did Ruth Chris get. Did y'all see that one?
Oh
I shared the post.
No, I didn't see that.
I gotta see this right now. I'm sorry.
I'm about to go
Hold
look.
on.
Look at ADQ page and look at what Ruth
On your
Chris
personal?
got. No, ADQ on my business page.
Okay.
Ruth Chris got, was it 20 million, 20 something they got for their chain.
But it's still considered a small business.
But it's
$20 million.
Is it 20 million? That's
Wow.
what it is?
Yes.
I saw that.
So
And I was like,
that tells you why they ran out of money so quick.
but
Because these
so-
large corporations, they're ready.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not corporations yet, but small businesses.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I mean, like, what is the
Already.
true definition of a small business? Is everybody put
Under
that
500
in-
employees.
But
Yeah.
it's like, look at the category. Ruth Chris gotta have what, 459? You know what I'm saying? Like,
59.
like,
Right, but
Ruth
if they
Chris is a
fall under,
chain.
they fall under 500, they fall under 500.
It's
like,
crazy.
And it's their setup as well. So franchises, they set up differently because it's by the franchise, and they're
Mhm.
technically getting the money for all their franchisees. Like it's a mess.
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
what are the business do now. Businesses have payroll, they got employees, you got all of this going on, and you just basically, it's no options. There's no more funding. So
I mean, there's still loans out there, not at a beautiful interest rate like 2% or 1%.
Right.
And they are a little harder to get versus, government funding. But there are still loan options out there. There's, I'm assisting a few business owners with different loan options as well. But it's heart-wrenching to find out that all that money's gone so quickly, and you have a lot of struggling business owners that were trying to get their paperwork together, or whatever the case may be, so that they can qualify, talking to different agencies or banks that were saying, okay, you're in the application period, and then to say that, yeah, this is it. Like, money is literally being printed as we speak, but not for you all. Like, so it's it's crazy.
we got
Right.
a lot of feedback, some questions. Marche is like, well, damn. I see ridiculous. We got multiple people watching, so definitely shout us out. If you have any questions, post them. We'll definitely try to get them in. Dawn said people who know how to work the system got it first, it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty
It
much.
might be good to have a business
Absolutely.
accountant specifically for these purposes. So I definitely think having an accountant and hiring one is definitely where you
Yeah.
I would
It's
like to
key.
comment on that really fast.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's so crucial that you have your books in order,
Yes.
because you're really stopping yourself from getting, because Ruth Chris was able to get what they got because they already had all their financials together. They didn't have to go find an accountant, go find a bookkeeper, go find somebody for financial assistance to help them do the loan process. They already had their paperwork together. So it's important, like the money, like don't think about, oh my gosh, I have to pay my accountant $500 a month or whatever the case may be. I had to pay them this amount of money, because they're going to make you back way more money than you're putting out. Your cash flow is going to be managed more effectively, so you're able to keep track of your expenses, which is going to en route bring your expenses lower. Your revenues are increasing. If they also do strategic planning with you, that's increasing as well. So that money is already made. That's not even a thought in your mind. And then on top of it, now you have all your financials all together. Like, you're not waiting. As soon as something becomes available, all you're doing is say, hey, in 10 minutes, all you're doing is literally, you don't even have to get your accountant on the phone, because everything is a button away. You log on to your little portal. Well, I know what my clients, you log on to your QuickBooks, you see report, you look for the report you need, you print it out, you send it on your way, and you're finished. But now you're in a period where funding became available and you were able to take advantage of it because you didn't have the right paperwork in place. You didn't have payroll because you were like, oh, payroll's expensive. You didn't have, QuickBooks because you're like, oh, I don't want to pay that monthly fee. But you think about all the money you're wasting on other things, like buying coffee every day, buying, I don't know, a new pair of shoes, buying a new dress because you want to look good at this party so just putting that money in the right places.
I definitely think some people were ready, like Ruth Chris. They was ready. They was prepared.
Oh, yeah.
They took their business so serious. It was to the next level. So when this thing happened, they were ahead of the game. They were working on that 30, 60, 90. They were way ahead. So this was not something to stop their business to organize as well. We need to kind of look at this and make sure that we learn from it, if anything. Yes. Another question is from Vanessa. What do you suggest as far as have a lot of people request estimates and either cancel or it takes more than an hour, but when we charge, they're no longer interested? So that's going back to your service and serving, definitely your profit and answer, Michelle. You want?
Go ahead, Michelle.
My first business I started was an event planning company, and I would sit before people and I would tell them all this elaborate stuff that I could do for their wedding. They're taking notes, and then I don't hear anything else from them because they go and do all the stuff that I told them to do for their wedding. So what I had to do was I had to think about, okay, so what's the limited amount of information I need to provide them to ensure them that I can do the work. Also, learning to automate the process. If you have somebody who's looking for an estimate, come up with a questionnaire that you can send them that won't take time out of your schedule. Because if you're doing an estimate and it's taking an hour, you need to be charging for the estimate. And yes, you can charge for a consultation. And so what I also would do is I would charge them a fee for the consultation and then give them some type of discount if they book their wedding in order to be able to recoup the time that I spent. So don't give it all away in the estimate. Give them what they need. And if they're wanting to know if you have the ability to do it, provide them with references. Don't give away your answers.
I think that was awesome. And like you said, people are so worried about having to pay for the consultation or the estimate. If you know you're going to get it back if you actually take on the job, you know, it's a win-win for you. You know what I'm saying? There's no extra money. But I think too, you eliminate the people that may be wasting your time and really wasn't.
Mhm. That's true.
Yep. Because my daughter just took her car to Volkswagen and she wanted to get a tune-up. They charged her $139 to do a diagnostic test to be able to tell her how much her tune-up is going to be. We'll pay it to them. You are no different than they are. Charge people for your information and your time. Time, money, and resources, 3 things you'll never get back.
That's good.
Marissa definitely said that's why she hires you, Miss Charles. I guess it's very kind.
Yeah.
Since I met you, you have been like, I'm like, man, I need her on my team. Like ever since I met you. Dawn says, hire the people you need to take care of those things so you can focus on your craft. I think that's really big. Everybody, you can't do everything. You have to make sure, you know, you have the right people doing it for you so it can all come to play.
Right.
Otherwise, it will never come to play.
You lose a lot of money trying to do it all yourself.
That's true.
You can do everything. You can't do everything. Everything in all of my businesses I can do. But if I'm doing everything, I'm not doing business.
Right.
Yeah. There's no way you're doing business if you're doing everything. But 2, there's no way there's so much other to it that you have. You have one resource. Accumulating several different minds, especially y'all all on the same target, you can actually prosper to go way above and beyond. They can actually take what you have into a whole nother level and then still have your whole vision and mission behind it. But y'all are all still connected. Keith said true. A lot of people don't charge because they don't know their own value and worth.
Absolutely. And I would also say it's how you're presenting it too. Because I even know, like, sometimes I get lazy or I don't use a script, but I would say create a script for your strategy call, your consultations or whatever you're doing to when you're first speaking to the client, as far as how you're going to go about bringing up your price. And don't be afraid to say what your price is. Because a lot of times when we get to the point, the part where now it's time for me to say how much it is, we're like, so it's going to be $250. And they're like, why are you saying like that? You don't believe in yourself? So how am I going to believe in you? So if you're like, really being like, hey, $250 is the price for this. And having and if they don't see the value in it, I reassuring them as far as what they're going to get with it. So sometimes they don't. Initially, they're like, they hear $250, but really thinking of it as an investment. So with that, like, don't look at it as $250. Look at it as you're getting a strategy session where you're able to scale your business to the next level with this, that, and the third. And they're like, you know what, whatever the case may be. So it's really how you speak out where your price is, and not being nervous and like timiding down when it's time to drop your price, but actually
that's true.
This is what it is.
But also know that don't chase every dollar. Every client isn't meant for you.
Yeah.
Know your audience, know what you're worth. And if someone feel like they can't afford your worth, then go ahead and say, well, I pray that you get the person that you need. Don't feel like you have to dummy down what you do just for the sake of capturing that client.
That's true.
Or you can also have
Absolutely.
different levels of what you offer. Okay, if the person you're talking to only can afford $50, give them a $50 service.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to just say, I just got a $250 service. Okay, if I got a $50 package for you. You get what I'm saying? You
Yes.
have strategize, but again, don't dummy down what you do just for the sake of capturing a dollar. Know your worth, stand firmly on what you're worth, and then if they decided to take part of your services, that's good. If not, then don't. Do you think Walmart gonna keep going down on Frosted Flakes cereal just so people can buy it? No, it's gonna stay that same price because they know somebody right behind that next person gonna pay for Frosted Flakes for the price that they posted. And we have to be the
that's
same
true.
way for our services.
I know we didn't get to actually get to this topic because we all flow. It goes. But I think, as she said, your script, it's almost like your pitch. If you're going out there for that pitch, you need to have the next step ready. Don't throw the pitch out there and get the bite and then don't know what to say. You know, like you gotta have that next step ready. So they always talk about your pitch. I send you my pitch and you actually love it. You want to invest, you want to talk, you want my service now. I didn't think about my next step. That's not important. You know what I'm saying? We have got to be prepared because there are so many people that are willing to invest in us and really take on our business. So, you know, we have to be able to kind of be able to actually let them know, hey, what our prices are, how we're going to navigate them there after the pitch. If we need some time, you know what I'm saying? What is our next step? We have to have a call to action behind what we do, you know? So I think it's important to have as well.
But that comes with knowing your product and having faith in your product.
Absolutely.
You'll sit there and
you gotta believe in your product.
Exactly. Just like when I recite poetry. Every time I do this one poem, I leave out a stanza. But I'm so passionate about it, you don't know that I left it out because I know the gist of what I'm saying. I know the story behind it. I don't have to go with a script because I know my product. You can come at me any which way because the script is sometimes I have you off balance where you're thinking the person's going to say this, but they said something else. Now you're scrambling like, oh, I wasn't expecting that answer. If you know your product, if you know your service, you don't need a script because you know what you do.
Right.
And that's what gains customers because you're confident in what you do. Like she was saying, well, I'm messing up a name. Wadeline said.
Wadeline.
Like, Wadeline said, you don't need, I forgot, I was trying to think of her name, but you got to know your product. You have to know your product. You can't, nobody should be able to throw you off guard because you didn't know what it is they're going to say. Know your product. They're going to buy into you. If you, that's what I was saying. Thank you, Holy Ghost. She was saying that if you're not confident, then they're not gonna be confident in what you're doing. Because they're like, if you don't believe it, then how am I gonna believe it?
Right.
You have to believe it first. So know your product. I can sell a man with no feet, shoes. I'm promised to you. And you have to know your product. You have to know your product. That's before you even get into sales. Don't try to sell somebody something and you're not even sure what you're selling. Know your product, know your craft, and then you talk about selling.
Yeah, that's so good.
Two things I wanted to say. One is you got to do business on the level you want to be and not the level you are. Like when it comes to my business, you would think that, oh, she got this. No, I'm doing this at the living room right now. I'm at the dining room. But you gotta
the whole operation.
You gotta present your product as if it's on the next level. And then what I wanted to say is that you gotta make sure that you are the seller. If you are not the seller, find you somebody who know how to sell. Because you may not be the face of your business for real. You may not need to be the one who is a seller. You may just need to be the one in the back producing the product. So
right.
doesn't have the ability to sell. Everybody doesn't have the ability to produce. That's why you got to know the capacity of the people who are around you. Because if you know
Mhm.
that you got somebody who got the gift of gab and can talk somebody out of their shoes while they socks still on, that's who you want to talk about to you.
And I would like to touch on that selling point as well. Just because, yes, it is definitely important to have somebody, if selling is not your strong suit, have somebody on the front line that's able to sell. But I remember, even in my sorority, we have a recruitment team, but everybody in the sorority is recruitment. Same thing in business. Everybody in the organization is a sales representative, essentially.
Mhm.
So even if, and you as the business owner, you're the business owner. So even if you're like, hey, I need to invest in a course on how to sell, then invest in the course on how to sell. Because even though you're not at the forefront of the selling, you need to know how to present your business as well. And that's another reason why I say doing the script. I say that because allowing yourself to get comfortable with being able to pitch your business. So having it down on paper initially first, okay, this, that, and a third, okay, this gives you a form of confidence to say, I know where this is going next. So and you can alter it as your conversations. No script is going to be perfect at the beginning. No, but now that you've had, say, 20 discovery calls, now you have the script down, you could essentially give that script to your next person and they know how to pitch your own business. But you're not like lost for gaps and you're like, oh shoot, like so the next point of this conversation is, and you're not running on as well, because a lot of the times when people are speaking or pitching their business or whatever, they start running on and you're like, okay, now you're lost as far as what service you wanted to begin with. So at least you have a guideline. All right, step 1, step 2, this is what we're going to talk about. So you're not running on some tangent or something while you're trying to pitch a sale.
Yeah,
That's good.
Don't be a fast talker, because I don't do business with fast talkers. If I need you to slow down so I can understand what you're saying.
how they say at Jack Chambers, you got to focus on those pains and gains too. I got to be able to relate to your business. I have to be able to feel it. Let me understand. Let me pick up on it where I can find relevance to what you do.
Exactly.
That is big.
People got to be able to feel that passion that you have for your business.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Right. And know that this is a passion, a gift, a talent that God has given you. And when you have a passion for it, and this is something that you know that God has put you on this earth to do, it's going to flow. And they can feel like, look, she really do want to help me with my finances. Like, I really do want you to live in financial freedom. Not only me, but God wants you to live in financial freedom. And if you already have yourself already set the way God has ordained it to be, even when we're going through a crisis, you're going to fall. You won't be all stressed out because you already have your stuff and everything in order. So once you know what you got to do, it'll just flow because of the passion that you have, for it to be able to help someone.
Yeah, I think this live was awesome. Like, this is part 4, like this whole little thing we've been doing since, COVID-19. Like, I see the growth. Do y'all see the growth? I mean,
yes,
we got like 20 plus followers. We got questions on here. Like, I'm so excited because it's just me. Like, how do I help others? But then also, how do we help ourselves too? You know what I'm saying? How do we show people who we are? Like, you have to be able to relate to us, see me. This is who I am, and this is what I do. It was really, really big. And Michelle, she's like, every Thursday, you got to stay with it, keep it going. And it's really grown our audience. So I do want to thank everybody for being on. You can send, I'm going to actually put everybody's business page in the comments, so you can definitely follow them. If you related to them today, have a question, reach out to them. Tell them where you met them at, where you heard them at. They'll know and they'll respond to you. And then we're going to keep this going every Thursday, like ADQM, like Jazz Poetry Cafe, 800 Plus, Life Coach, and then Grand Rev Financials. We all have some amazing platforms. And this is not the only live we do. This is just the only one we do as a group. And I think everyone needs to know that you got to stay tuned. Thanks again, everybody, for joining. We have ladies, are y'all dropping jewels? Thank you. Have to take a call, but I'll be back next time. We had some really engaged, very informational. Thank you, ladies. I got, clapping. This was awesome. So thank you so much for supporting us, and we will be back to do this again, and we're gonna do a
Yes,
real
thank
talk
you.
again. 'Cause this
Yeah.
was one of the best ones.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye.